Right now at 5, a grass fire burns more than 300 acres in southeast Kansas.
And while we could have a stray shower or two today, we're otherwise just going to be windy and a little bit cooler. Talk about that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a ballot issue in Neosho would approve a use tax for online purchases.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. It's finally Friday in the 4 states.
Absolutely.
March the 28th. We've made it through another week.
Yep.
And to help you through this week, there was a story I just saw as I was sitting down this morning. There was a prison bus that collided with a cement truck.
Oh, wow.
So now police are looking for hardened criminals.
Oh, no. Oh. I get it.
I'll go ahead and let myself out, and we'll just go from there. You're welcome. Look, I told you, the internet is filled with joy and sadness and a combination of the two, and then somehow somebody gave me internet access, and that's what happens. But happy Friday, and hopefully it gets you off to a good start to your day. And if it doesn't, I can't sing and I can't dance. I'll just tell you about the weather. That sounds like a good deal, right? Looks pretty good. We do have some clouds out there. We're going to have partly cloudy skies to start, and then clouds. I did not change that. This is not I-44 in Rangeline, obviously, and if it is, something has drastically changed about that location. This is 20th Street, MoDOT camera there. Looking good as well. So again, I think the future track on this is going a little overboard on our shower chances, but we will have possibility of isolated showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, mainly south of I-44 on the Missouri side, and then south of the Kansas-Oklahoma state line on the west side of our area. Otherwise, clouds will increase as we head through the afternoon. It'll be breezy and it'll still be warm, just not as warm. And we're going to talk about this in detail for you guys here in a moment. So here's what we are looking at. Now we are getting close enough. We have an elevated risk for Saturday and the low to elevated risk Sunday. But again, I want to emphasize as well that this elevated risk for Saturday is really going to be for about between 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Sunday before the day's transition at the Storm Prediction Center and we go into Sunday. We'll talk about everything you need to know about what we're still expecting for that possible severe weather this weekend. Today, though, not bad. 61 already, Joplin and Pittsburgh. So a very mild start again. Remember, our average lows, low 40s. Most of us are in the upper 50s and low 60s. A very mild start. We'll have a very similar mild start as we head into tomorrow. But as you can see, not bad. I mean, I don't like the heat. It's confusing. I get hot easily, I should say. So I had the air on the ride to work. I didn't update any of this. I'm going to stop right here because my machine kept crashing this morning, and it's dawned on me I haven't updated anything for this morning. I'm going to get that fixed, but I'll tell you right now, we're looking at highs today into the low 70s, maybe a couple of upper 60s here and there. Got those shower chances south of I-44. South winds will be gusting occasionally upwards of 30 miles an hour, and clouds increasing into the evening and overnight hours. We'll start to actually clear out on our Saturday. We'll start to warm up a bit more. I know we've got those thunderstorm chances. We'll talk about that, and I'll get all this fixed for you here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon. Multiple fire departments worked to put out a grouse fire that burned more than 300 acres in Cherokee County this week. This fire swept through an area about 3 miles north of Columbus along Highway 7. The blaze is out now, but crews had to battle it for a couple of days. At one point, they thought it was extinguished, but it rekindled in the high winds. Authorities estimate the fire covered 330 acres, but apparently did not damage any buildings. And the Red Cross is helping the people displaced by a fire that destroyed one home and damaged 2 others in Webb City yesterday. The fire began at a home at Rowan and Austin around 1 a.m. It was so intense it destroyed that home, then extended to the homes south and north. Firefighters from Webb City, Joplin, Carl Junction, and Oronogo all responded. No one was hurt, but the Red Cross is helping 4 adults and 3 children who have lost their homes. Investigators say a man hit by a train in Joplin yesterday was experiencing a mental health emergency at the time. The southbound train hit the man just south of the 15th Street crossing yesterday afternoon. The man was rushed to the hospital. Authorities have not given an update on his condition. We're providing links to local mental health resources in this story on our website. Those include 24-hour hotlines for anyone experiencing a mental health crisis. Just go to KOAMNewsNow.com. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. On April 8th, Neosho voters will be asked whether to approve Proposition A, which would create a local use tax for online purchases. The city hopes to use the funds generated for a series of parks and recreational projects. KOAM's Samantha Walker has the details.
Neosho residents will see Proposition A on their ballots in April. That proposition will allow the city of Neosho to collect a local use tax on sales made online.
This would enact a 3%, which is the local sales tax rate for Neosho, for those online purchases when buying online.
So if passed, how would this tax work? The city manager tells me the tax would be based on your shipping address for online purchases. So if you live in Neosho city limits and have something delivered to your home from an online retailer like Amazon, you'd pay this local use tax.
The initiative would pull about $300,000 or $400,000 annually. That would help with the cost of development and building this in essence of a new park system.
If approved, city staff say funds generated from the local use tax will go towards several parks and recreation projects in the city. This includes an accessible playground, pickleball courts, upgrades to the city golf course, and a new aquatic center.
We're looking at a $10 million project for the aquatic center, for the improvements at the golf course. So, you know, obviously the city doesn't have $10 million.
He says the city wants to do these projects because many of them are amenities the community has enjoyed for years.
These are just things that you know, we've had in our community in the past, and they've aged out. We need to replace them, need to update them.
The city manager says if the proposition is not passed, the city will have to look at other options for these projects. Reporting in Neosho, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Neosho residents will vote on Proposition A on April 8th. You can learn more about what will be on your ballot on our website, koamnewsnow.com/elections. Now, a nonprofit in Carthage wants to educate the community on do-it-yourself home improvement. Vision Carthage rolled out a series of community classes for a project called Restoration Carthage. The program pairs volunteers with skilled laborers and materials to complete repairs on homes in need of TLC at no cost to the homeowner. It's done through partnership with other nonprofits like Hearts and Hammers and Habitat for Humanity.
One of the things that we're really hoping to promote through these workshops and classes is the fact that if they do need help on their home, they're already attending one of our workshops, so they're already satisfying one of the 3 classes that they need to attend in order to be considered for the Restoration Carthage Workday. So why not fill out that application? If you need some work done on your home, we're looking for those individuals to help.
Restoration Carthage began in 2016. Now that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pittsburgh State football holds its first spring practice. We have the details. Plus, German farmers are selling more eggs to the U.S. to fill a big market need. And we'll have a windy and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
We're still a long ways away from the start of the 2025 college football season in the 4 states. In fact, we're exactly 153 days away from when the Gorillas and Lions will play their first games. Early yesterday morning, Pittsburgh State football holds its first spring practice of the year. The Gorillas are going to look different in 2025. All 6 of their team captains from a year ago have graduated and moved on. Right now, Pitt State is hoping to find that next group of leaders for the coming season.
These early spring practices, we are just trying to identify our leaders. I'm just trying to come out here and work, stay consistent, be disciplined.
It's awesome. I mean, you know, we spend all the first 2.5 months, you know, working out every single day up early morning. You know, it's good to get out here with all the guys, run around, hit some people. You know, obviously being an O-lineman, I love to hit. That's the name of the game right there. But, you know, just running out here with the brothers all day, you know, getting better together, you know, just working every single day for that end goal back down in December.
MIAA announces its 2025 Athletics Hall of Fame class yesterday afternoon. 5 names familiar to the 4 states are inducted. That includes a couple of football players that went on to have careers in the NFL. Missouri Southern's Alan Barber and Pitt State's John Brown. 8-time track and field All-American Kiara Jones from Pitt State, along with Nikki Nill in Missouri from Missouri Southern. All-time leader in career goals scored, and Shallie London, the 1995 MIAA Softball Player of the Year. The induction ceremony will take place in the first week of June. Yesterday was opening day for Major League Baseball. The Royals faced the Guardians at Kauffman Stadium. KOM Sports reporter Ben McLeish is in Kansas City with more.
After 4 long months, baseball is finally back in Kauffman Stadium, and the 30-plus thousand fans are ready for some baseball. I know I am. Shades, check. Baseball cap, check. Hot dog, check. That's a good hot dog.
2, 3, go
Let's go Royals!
Opening Day is a special time for Royals fans. A time for enjoying America's pastime, eating peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and father and son bonding.
Talking about coming to an opening day this year with him now that we're in the baseball has been something we've really been looking forward to.
And fans all seem to agree on one thing. There's no better place to watch the Royals than right here at Kauffman Stadium.
People are nice here, food is great, it's a great atmosphere. Love opening day.
Of course, fans from around the country make the trip for opening day, but some are much closer, like lifelong fan Kathy Ferrero, who came right from Pittsburgh, Kansas.
George Brett going over 400 when he hit a double, standing on second base, raising his arms. I was here. I love everything about the Royals. I love everything about being here.
With 80 home games left, fans have plenty of opportunities to see the Royals play. Reporting from Kauffman Stadium, Ben McLeish, KOAM Sports.
Well, unfortunately, Royals fans who made the trip to Kauffman Stadium go home without a win. Kansas City falls to Cleveland 7-4 in 10 innings. Michael Massey hits a sac fly in the 9th to send it into extras, but the Guardians score 3 in the 10th. Meanwhile, over in St. Louis, Cardinals win on opening day. They take down the Twins 5-3. Sonny Gray picks up the win on the mound, goes 5 innings, allowing 2 runs and striking out 6. Nolan Arenado and Lars Nootbaar both hit home runs. Well, still to come, a new study reveals that cell phones don't distract you from work more than, well, anything else. Plus, we have those thunderstorm chances this weekend. Keep a close eye on that. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 now on this finally Friday, and while today isn't looking bad, we do have the severe threat heading into the weekend. So I know we've talked about this before, but with the Storm Prediction Center, their days run until, it depends on daylight savings time, but like 1 or 2 o'clock the next morning. So I want to emphasize that while we have this severe threat tomorrow with the elevated risk across a good portion of the area, it actually is going to be more for 11 p.m. to about 1 a.m. heading into Sunday morning, and then Sunday will take over, and you see the risk begins to shift to the east, because as I also discussed, the more significant severe threat is going to be to our east. Unfortunately, similar to what we saw a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to be on the beginnings of this severe thunderstorm threat as we head into Sunday morning. So that's what we're going to talk about. First, though, again, I think Future Track's going a little over the top with the coverage on the rain, but we have some rain showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, mainly south of I-44, and I'll come to a wrap up around 5, 6 o'clock this evening. Clouds will actually increase through the evening and into the overnight hours, leaving us mostly cloudy as we start our Saturday, but take a look, it traps in that warm air, so a lot more low 60s for our overnight lows tonight. We head into Saturday, again, a stray shower or two may be possible as we head into the afternoon, and then believe it or not, skies clear out. And that's what's going to help give the fuel for our storms late Saturday into early Sunday, because once those skies clear, we have a gusty south wind. It's bringing in the moisture. It's bringing in the warm air. Our temperatures climbing upper 70s and low 80s, and that will set the stage for the thunderstorm development late Saturday night. So it could develop as early as, say, 10 o'clock or so in our very far northwestern corner. So here we are Sunday at midnight, and here's those thunderstorms. And as they roll through, they will, they're expected to intensify as they continue to roll east, because again, they're going to set the stage for a much more significant severe weather situation to our east. But this is the other concern, is here we are 2 a.m. Sunday. Is the fact that this is going to be obviously a very nocturnal event. Most of us are going to be asleep. Even those of us who work on the morning shift here, I'm not quite awake yet at 2 a.m. on a Sunday or on a Monday or any other day of the week. So you want to make sure you've got the Skywatch weather app, make sure you've got your weather radio ready to go, because we'll, again, likely be snoozing when this starts to roll through. Now, the thing is, though, because it is a nocturnal event, by about 5, maybe 6 at the latest Sunday morning, the severe threat is gone. It rolls east. We're still breezy, and we could still see some isolated showers or storms heading into the afternoon, but the severe threat will be gone after about 6, 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. But we still want to watch it very closely. Now, all hazards are possible, but the greatest concern, after looking at some of the data, is going to be for the potential for large to very large hail. So that's what we're going to want to keep a very close eye on. For today, though, we're starting partly cloudy, upper 50s out there, near 70 by 11 o'clock this morning. Our highs, low 70s, and again, south of I-44. And if you just drew I-44 straight across the Kansas-Oklahoma border, south of that point, an isolated shower storm. Most of us will be dry. I'll have winds out of the south gusting to 35, highs in the low 70s. Again, low 60s for most of us tonight, mostly cloudy through the evening and into the overnight. South winds still gusting upwards of 30. They'll be gusting upwards of 30 again tomorrow, upper 70s, some low 80s. Again, a little cooler on Sunday, upper 60s. Once that cold front passes through, we have a pretty chilly night, a little closer to normal, but chilly. 38 will be a little cooler on Monday, but it doesn't take very long for the warm weather to return. And of course, doesn't take very long for some thunderstorm chances to return. I'll be honest, right now, obviously still several days away, but we are keeping an eye now on next Wednesday, where we do have a potential severe threat as well. So we'll keep you updated on that. Of course, we'll be here through the weekend with those severe thunderstorm chances Saturday night into Sunday morning. Let's check your forecast. Health Watch is up next.
Topping Health Watch this morning. If you feel distracted by your phone, the problem may be you. That's according to a new study published in Frontiers in Computer Science. Researchers found that when faced with boring tasks, people do use their cell phones for a distraction. But if it's not nearby, you'll probably distract yourself with some other thing. The experiment does not prove this. It only used 22 people working on computers. Those who didn't have a phone within arm's reach used the computer to distract from work. The study's author says distractions are everywhere, but that's not the problem. The problem is people seek them out. Popular GLP-1 drugs have long been approved to treat type 2 diabetes, but a new study suggests the use of these drugs has significantly increased among children and adults with the type 1 version of the disease. And researchers say the medicine may not be safe for those with type 1 diabetes. Mandy Gaither talks to the study's senior author about what patients should know.
It's a less common kind of diabetes where the pancreas doesn't make enough insulin. Around 2 million Americans are affected by type 1 diabetes, and while it was once thought of as a thin person disease, that doesn't appear to be the case anymore.
Their obesity rate also may be increasing just as other a general population.
Because of that, Johns Hopkins researcher Dr. Jung M. Shin says an increasing number of adult and pediatric patients with type 1 diabetes are going on some GLP-1 medications, which right now are only FDA approved for type 2 diabetes and those who have obesity.
That kind of medication can be as effective as for type 1 diabetes population, but we don't have data.
Shin says the concern is that those with type 1 diabetes who depend on daily insulin and use GLP-1 medications at the same time will be at an increased risk of hypoglycemia, dangerously low blood sugar levels, and ketoacidosis, where acidic substances build up in the blood.
We don't know whether this is effective or safe in this population.
Shin and her team's latest research says there could be some health benefits for these drugs in the type 1 diabetes population, but they're calling for clinical trials to further study this and develop clear guidelines for these patients. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And the scientists are now following up with a narrower study on type 1 diabetes patients, seeing how much of a risk there is for hypoglycemia when it comes to the use of GLP-1 drugs. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a fairly decent Friday out there for us, and we are still watching the severe threat heading into Saturday night and Sunday morning. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, hundreds of students from schools all over the 4 states gather in Neosho for Aggie Day.
Oh, we got a pretty good Friday. I keep wanting to say Saturday. We have a very good Friday ahead of us. We'll talk about that in the forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we get a sneak peek at the first performance of Pittsburgh Community Theater season.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Melissa Alexis.
I'm Chris Warner. It's finally Friday. It's obviously Friday, and I keep thinking
Not
we're
Saturday
on
yet.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And if it was, we certainly wouldn't be here this early in
That's
the morning
true.
on Saturday. But boy, everybody is working for the weekend. Loverboy said that.
Oh.
And yeah, it's
There
about
you
time
go.
it gets here. So I have corrected the issues we had earlier this morning. Like I said, our little weather computer, sometimes it just doesn't like me, and it was crashing and giving me a hard time. So I knew I was going to miss something, and I did. But the good news is it's taken care of. Now, today is not looking too bad. It's going to be breezy, not as warm as yesterday. And we're going to have a few more clouds out there, a few isolated showers. But again, overall, not a bad day ahead of us. Of course, as our camera downtown Pittsburgh, MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. Looks pretty good as well. Very deserted right now. On to the future track. Now, as I mentioned earlier as well, I think the future track's a little overboard on the coverage here, but Kansas-Oklahoma border, and if you just kind of stretch that right with I-44, along that point and south, an isolated shower, perhaps a rumble of thunder will be possible as we head through the afternoon hours out there. You could get a stray shower north of that, but the better chances, even though they're not that great, will be down south. And after about 5 o'clock or so, those chances will kind of fizzle out, and we'll just be left with mostly cloudy skies overnight tonight. As we've discussed, we do have that severe threat heading into Saturday night, and again, this is for Saturday night. This will be between 11 p.m. and about 1 a.m. on Sunday, and then the Sunday forecast takes over. So we'll talk about what we're looking at for this weekend, what you need to know for that severe weather threat here in just a few more minutes. Temperatures this morning well above average. Again, should be in the low 40s. Most of us in the low 60s. 61 Joplin and in Pittsburgh right now, and across the area. As I mentioned, the majority of us in the low 60s. We have some upper 50s, but that's really about as cool as it gets. So not a bad start to the day. Very mild start to the day for us on our Friday. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Again, partly cloudy skies, about in the mid to upper 50s. South winds gusting to 25. Those winds increase this afternoon. Start gusting to 35, about 71 when the bus brings them home. And again, in the southern half of our area, maybe a stray shower or storm. Through the day, other than those chances down south, we're looking at clouds increasing heading into the afternoon, and our temperatures, again, a little cooler than yesterday as we go into the low 70s. Now, as I mentioned, we have the severe threat heading into Saturday night and really into very early Sunday morning. We're going to break down the details on that with what you need to know here in just a few more minutes. Melissa?
All right, thanks, Chris. One event that might interest you will be live in Pittsburgh this weekend. Pittsburgh Community Theater's 2025 season kicks off this weekend with Lend Me a Tenor by Ken Ludwig. The Farceuil comedy tells the story of the night at an opera gone wrong. The show features our very own Anthony Saviello as the character of Max. The show's director says it's nice to see those who have done shows for several years interact with those who are new to the Pittsburgh community.
I keep laughing every single time I watch the show. I'm snickering all the way through. I'm amazed that after 2 months, The comedic timing is still there. The funny stuff is still there, and it just hasn't gotten stale, and I think that's amazing.
Lend Me a Tenor will run from March 28th through the 30th at Memorial Auditorium. You can find ticket information on our website or show up at the door the day of the show. Local coin connector Dave Sorick educated seniors about the history and value of common older coins. The event took place yesterday afternoon at the Parsons Presbyterian Manor. Sorick used his 45-year expertise to teach residents about the many changes in the Lincoln cent and how to prepare for coin appraisal.
Well, it is more costly to make the penny now, and also the Jefferson nickel. It costs about 3.6 cents to make a current penny, and something like 13 cents to make the Jefferson nickel. So it makes sense from an economic standpoint, perhaps not to make those anymore, but we don't have to discontinue the coins. They'll still be in circulation.
And if you missed this event, another one will be held April 11th at Labette Bank in Parsons. Now, Crowder College hosted its annual Aggie Day competitions yesterday, welcoming nearly 1,700 high school students, teachers, and volunteers from the four-state area. The event featured 16 contests run by agriculture staff, alumni, and community volunteers. The event helps students prepare for upcoming Southwest Missouri competitions that qualify teams for state.
We have various contests that are using their skills to help them use their critical thinking to defend their reasons and to communicate that well to their judges. And so we're really happy to have the best and the brightest in the area here today.
So as a high school student coming onto a college campus, I think exposes them to a little bit of just what college campus life is like. And we can kind of introduce them to our ag department and the opportunities that we have for them here.
With decades of tradition, Aggie Day continues to celebrate agriculture while providing students with hands-on experience. Neosho Junior High School students put their culinary skills to the test in a high-stakes kitchen cook-off. Yesterday's evening competition challenged students to create custom recipes under strict time limits. In the end, one winner was crowned, Team Whisket for the Biscuit, but all participants took home new skills and a special chef's coat.
The cooking competition is really cool. It's like a really good way to engage with especially students with cooking, along with the competition part of it. It's a really fun experience, and I'm glad to be able to say that I was a part of.
We've talked about it for the past 3 months. They've come up with recipes. They've tested a couple different variations to see what flavor combinations they like best. We've talked about different sauces.
The young chefs were judged on taste, visual appearance, and how well they followed instructions. Well, a Carthage man celebrates a milestone birthday yesterday. Don Myers turned a young at heart 106 years old. Don's secret to his long life is the help of his daughter. His daughter and the community came out to join the party at Carthage Nazarene Church during today's lunch for seniors event.
Wonderful. That's how much he's loved. And we had another party on Saturday for him. And he appreciates all this.
We did the math, and Don was born back in 1919. Now that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. South Korea's worst ever wildfires continue to burn, fueled by strong winds and dry weather. Plus, European leaders meet in Paris to help Ukraine with a ceasefire deal. We'll have the latest. You're watching KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. To fill a big U.S. market need, Europeans are pitching in to help. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is seeking European markets to fill the void in U.S. egg supply, drained by the avian bird flu that has killed millions of egg-laying chickens. Some German farmers are pitching in, as well as Italy, Poland, and Sweden. Germany also supplies only 73% of its own eggs, so helping Americans with egg shortages, especially near Easter time for celebrations, could be considered a sacrifice. But they're making money doing it. Eggs are about $3.25 a kilogram there, but about $9.71 a kilo when exported here. And South Korea's worst ever wildfires continue to burn. Helicopters dumped water over a burning forest on Thursday. Multiple wildfires fueled by a strong wind and dry weather have been raging since last Friday. So far, 27 people have died and 32 people have been injured. Close to 40,000 people have evacuated and more than 300 structures have been destroyed. Authorities have mobilized more than 9,000 people and more than 100 helicopters to battle the wildfires. Scientists say the warming atmosphere around the world is driving ever more extreme weather events, including wildfires, flooding, droughts, hurricanes, and heat waves. Well, Ukraine's European allies meet for talks in Paris on how to cement a ceasefire with Russia. They're also considering proposals to deploy troops to keep the peace. Alex Hogan has the latest from London.
European leaders meet in Paris for talks on solidifying a ceasefire in Ukraine as diplomatic efforts to end the war are ramping up. They're also considering proposals for troop deployments to Ukraine to act as a peacekeeping force. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pushing Europe to take a stronger approach to ensure Russia abides by any potential agreement.
I think more pressure on it, more packages of sanctions. Everybody understood and understand that Russia for today doesn't want any kind of peace.
The summit comes 2 days after the U.S. helped broker a pause to the fighting in the Black Sea, and a week after both sides agreed to a limited ceasefire on energy infrastructure. Many Ukrainians, however, remain skeptical about the possibility of lasting peace.
What can I say? Russia has never fulfilled its obligations and will not fulfill them now.
Last night, Russia launched a new round of drone attacks on Kharkiv, injuring at least a dozen people. Another attack hit a gas pipeline in Kherson. The continued strikes raising questions about how serious Russian President Vladimir Putin is about ending the war.
Far from proving that it really wants peace, Russia continues day after day to strike intensively Ukrainian territory, civilian targets included.
Building up a European force strong enough to keep the peace would be no small undertaking. Many countries are now discussing ramping up their military spending to become less reliant on the U.S.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now coming up on 5:45 on this finally Friday, and we do have that chance for strong to severe thunderstorms as we head into the upcoming weekend. That's what we're going to talk about first this morning. Here's what we're looking at. We have an elevated risk across most of the region as we head into tomorrow. But again, I want to emphasize that these outlooks carry on until about 1, 2 o'clock the next morning. This is not going to be something that occurs during the daytime hours tomorrow. This is for between 11 p.m. and about 1 a.m. Sunday morning when these storms will initiate in our far northwestern counties and begin to dive southeast, which is why the risk shifts east as we head into the Sunday outlook, because a more significant event is expected off to our east. And like we saw, I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, we'll be at the beginning area of this severe weather outbreak that's going to take place to our east. So that will hamper, or will tamper with what we are going to get. It will temper what we get around the area. Now for today, as I mentioned this morning, the future track, I think it's going a little more robust on the coverage down south, but roughly you take the Kansas-Oklahoma border and just continue it due east. Along and south of that point, a chance for an isolated shower, perhaps a rumble of thunder. Could get a sprinkle or two north of that point, but that's where the slightly better chances will be. Majority of us will remain dry. We'll simply have clouds increasing through today. It'll be breezy and not as warm as yesterday. Still mild, just not as warm as what we saw yesterday afternoon. So we start our Saturday mostly cloudy, and then believe it or not, as we head into the afternoon, clouds will begin to clear out. That's what's going to help set the stage for the development of those storms late tomorrow night. By the evening, skies clear out. We have a gusty south wind. It's bringing in the energy. It's bringing in the moisture. It's bringing in that warm air. And we're going to be upper 70s, low 80s by the evening hours on Saturday. As I mentioned, about 11 o'clock or so, we're going to start to see the development of showers and thunderstorms off to our west. By midnight, it's into our western counties. So Yates Center, Fredonia, Sedan, stretching down toward Bartlesville, Independence, Coffeyville, Howard, Eureka. That's where this is going to start at about midnight. Now, the thing is we have to see, because nocturnal severe weather is a different situation. It's one thing if there's a line of storms, Saturday evening, 4 or 5 o'clock, that runs in, it can still be severe when it gets here. But these are expected to develop late after sunset and potentially intensify overnight. That's something that doesn't happen commonly. So we're going to have to see what the nighttime has in terms of an impact on these storms and how quickly they can intensify. But as you saw, we do have that elevated risk across the region. It is for all hazards, but I'll also tell you right now the greatest concern is going to be for very large hail, maybe 2 inches in diameter or greater. So we'll see these track through. By 2 a.m., it's into the eastern portions of Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, starting to stretch into Missouri. And then by about 4 a.m., it's along the I-49 corridor. And by 5 or 6 a.m. Sunday morning, the severe threat is gone. It clears out. Now, we could still see some scattered showers and storms into the afternoon on Sunday, but the severe risk will be done very early Sunday morning. Anything we see after that is expected to not reach severe levels, as that will be taking place to our east. So it's something we still want to watch very carefully, and the reason we want to emphasize how closely you're monitoring it is because of the timing. Most of us are going to be asleep at that time. So make sure you have the Skywatch weather app, and make sure you have your weather radio ready to go so it can awaken you at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if we do have severe weather heading into Sunday morning. For today, again, partly cloudy to start, upper 50s, about 70 by 11 o'clock this morning. So we do warm up quickly, and then we just kind of cap out thanks to the clouds at about the low 70s. And again, our southern regions could see a stray shower or thunderstorm. And we're going to have those south winds gusting upwards of 35 miles an hour. Now, clouds increase into the afternoon and evening. We'll start to go mostly cloudy. That will slow down the temperature drop, which will leave more of us into the low 60s tonight. A couple upper 50s still possible, but most of us will be down in the low 60s, and the south winds will continue to gust upwards of 30 miles an hour. Then tomorrow, as I mentioned, with the clouds, it's a cooler start, but once those clouds clear by the afternoon, temperatures warm up very quickly. We're into the upper 70s, low 80s, and we get to the low 60s once again Saturday night into Sunday. So you see this temperature change here, not a big change. Now, once that cold front pushes through, while our temperatures, as you saw in Future Track, will not plummet, it will get cold, but seasonably so. We should be in the low 40s, so we'll be a little below normal Sunday night, but it will be chilly as we start our Monday. But then same situation here. The warm weather returns quickly. Not a big drop off from Monday night's lows, and then we're back into the 70s and maybe even some 80s next week. And I do want to remind everyone we are also watching a potential severe threat next Wednesday. Still several days out, but just a heads up on that as well. Let's check your forecast. We are back with more right after this.
A one-legged robot is getting a leg up on the competition, taking inspiration from rascally rodents to pull off some high-flying feats. Jeremy Roth has today's look at Take a Look at This.
Take a look at a quirky one-legged robot engineered to stick a landing on a branch just like a leaping squirrel. Biology and engineering students at UC Berkeley first studied the jumping and landing patterns of squirrels, which they say apply natural braking maneuvers to stop on their intended targets so deftly. They then designed Salto, their own bouncing bot, to use a springy step and balancing flywheel to leap, land, and level itself in a single bound, just like its nutty counterpart. The high-flying feat was chronicled in the journal Science Robotics, and the university says it's a big step towards bigger possibilities, like using the leaping bots in construction, environmental applications, and maybe even space exploration. Now, if they could only design a robot to prevent leaping squirrels from stealing food from my bird feeder. This is Pickles. He's a real jerk. Paleontologists have made a fascinating breakthrough in Asia, unearthing the largest fully preserved dinosaur claw of its kind in Mongolia. This unique two-clawed hand, experts say, belonged to a previously unknown species of dinosaur they are calling, this. Believed to be part of the same dino family that includes the T-Rex. Some researchers are likening the lengthy claws to tongs used in barbecuing. Others are comparing the new species to Edward Scissorhands. I say, hey, why can't it be both? Finally, speaking of fingers, one belonging to an expert freediver is now adorned with an engagement ring following an amazing underwater proposal in the Galapagos Islands. Videographer and wildlife expert Carlos Luna presented his partner, diver Nusi Horvath, with the ring in an unforgettable moment they say was filled with love, emotion, and of course, plenty of safety precautions. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around, we'll be right back. One social media platform goes back to its roots with a new feature. Facebook announced on Thursday that it will be rolling out a revamped Friends tab feature that filters out algorithm recommendations to show only your friends' stories, reels, and posts. Previously, the social media platform only had friend requests and suggestions under the Friends tab. Spectators stop and stare at the fountain of lava spewing from Hawaii's Kilauea on Wednesday. The volcano's most recent eruptive episode drew in a crowd, with people flocking to Volcanoes National Park, some on horseback to catch a glimpse. Kilauea is one of the world's most active volcanoes. Its latest eruption began on December 23rd, with lava flowing, pausing, and starting up again about a dozen times since then.
Thankfully, no volcanoes to worry about in our area, and at least at this point, not going to be nearly that hot either. But we do have a fairly decent day for us. We're going to have partly cloudy skies to start, near 60 by 8, near 70 by 11 this morning, and then along and south of I-44 and then the Kansas-Oklahoma border could get an isolated shower or maybe a rumble of thunder. Nothing significant expected out of any of that, and the better chances again in the southern half of our area. The rest of us dry, clouds increasing, low 70s out there. South winds gusting upwards of 35 miles an hour. As I mentioned, the clouds will continue to increase as we head into the evening and overnight, and that helps keep us mild once again. The majority of us back into the low 60s tonight, with south winds still gusting upwards of 30. We start our Saturday mostly cloudy. Skies begin to clear by the afternoon, and then we get warm. We're windy, south wind still gusting, and then we've got from 11 p.m. and on that threat for thunderstorms, some of which could be strong to severe. As I mentioned, all hazards will be possible going into early Sunday morning, but at this point the greatest threat is going to be for very large hail. A little cooler Sunday night into Monday, cooler on Monday. We'll have another look at your forecast right after this.